Notice there are 3 different religions owning land here.
Before the second coming of the Son of God, he will come and we will build another temple here for in his behalf. And
That Zion must be built before the Lord will appear in his glory.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Katie, and 1,000 Reasons Why Not. Here to bring you yet another reason why not. We're going to talk about the Mormons again. But before we get into that, while I'm recording this, last night another hurricane hit Florida, and to any of my viewers down there, if I have any viewers down there, I hope you guys are okay. I hope y'all are doing okay, and I hope that you made it to safety or are safe where you're at. I'm thinking about you. I haven't been feeling very good, so I haven't been uploading anything or really working on anything, but I missed you guys so much, and I hope that you miss me too. Life's been good. Things have been pretty good. I've been working on this video and another video about Doreen Virtue. That is just, I don't know if that's ever going to be ready, but I am working on it. I am trying. I've been reading again. My son got me into the Dark Tower series, so he gave me the Gunslinger to read, and then I'm on this one now. The Drawing of the Three. This is the second one, and wow. I read a lot of Stephen King, as you can tell. Like, I introduced him to Stephen King, but I'd never read The Dark Tower before, and they are something else. They're really, really good. Let me know if you guys have read this. Yeah, so if you want to hear me ramble all the time, oh yeah, I was gonna say that to my 5 beautiful subscribers out there. 5 might not seem like a big number in the big scheme of things, but you know, for what I'm doing, I mean, it means a lot to me. So, thank you guys. And also, if you would like me to kiss your butt like this in every video, then subscribe and you can be one of the crew saying no to stuff like bad religions and bad organizations and things like that. Trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to tell you guys about. Oh, well, yeah, obviously, president of the LDS Church, Russell Marion Nelson.
Marion? Tell you, I didn't know that was a man's name.
Recently turned 100 years old, and they made a big hoopla about it, and, you know, good for him. That's old. Like, good for him for making it to 100. That's awesome. But yeah, I guess he made a statement that's got a lot of faithful Mormons online talking about the end times being very soon, which, you know, all these end times cults have been saying that the end times is very soon since Jesus died, so, or since Jesus ascended and left us all here to figure it out, right? But yeah, so I've been working on this concept of this video for a minute. I'm intrigued because there's like a lot of Mormonism going on in Missouri, and maybe it's always been like that my whole life, and I just didn't notice because I didn't know anything about it. You know what I mean?
According to the Mormon faith, Jackson County is the site of the Garden of Eden, and after Adam and Eve's fall, they fled to what is now Daviess County, Missouri, and that's where they started civilization. Daviess County is about an hour north of Kansas City. And the second coming of Christ will take place in an area just to the west of downtown Independence. All of that was revealed to Joseph Smith in the 1820s. He started the church, and he came to Independence in 1831, believing Jackson County was the site for the Garden of Eden.
we feel this is the area in which the mankind begins. Adam and Eve was in this area here.
The official name is the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, and they have a visitor center in Independence, not far from the area where the church believes Jesus will return to earth.
Before the second coming of the Son of God, he will come and we will build another temple here for in his behalf, and this is where he will rule and reign for the 1,000 years we call the millennium.
Like, maybe I just didn't notice, but I only knew like one Mormon family, I guess a couple of Mormon families growing up. And then my sister actually was friends with some of them and became baptized in the Mormon church. I never thought anything of it, you know, I didn't know anything about the religion. I just thought it was like any other Christian religion, which in a lot of ways it is. Or any other Christian denomination, I should say. I hope you guys like the sound of traffic, because there's been construction going on ever since I decided to start this YouTube journey. Isn't that cool? Anyway, I was just gonna say, like, I never realized that there were so many Mormons and so many different types of Mormons. Like, there's different denominations within the Latter-day Saint movement. Right, okay, I ran out of storage there, so I had to stop recording for a second. But, right, what I was saying was, like, I guess Mormonism has always been in Missouri since Joseph Smith came here with the Latter-day Saints originally from Ohio. They came to Missouri for a stint until this extinction order that the governor put out. We'll get into all that. But they've always been here in one form or another, and there's been offshoot denominations since that initial time. Disputes between early members of the church and Missourian settlers in Independence led to the expulsion of the early members of the church from Jackson County in 1833. Most temporarily settled in Clay County, Missouri. Towards the end of 1836, Caldwell County was created specifically for a settlement of members of the church to compensate property losses in Jackson County. Shortly after the creation of Caldwell County, Far West was made the county seat. Far West became the headquarters of the church in early 1838 when Joseph Smith and Sidney Rigdon relocated to the town from the previous church headquarters in Kirtland, Ohio. Joseph Smith taught that the Garden of Eden had been in Jackson County, and when Adam and Eve were expelled from the garden, they moved to the area now comprising Caldwell and Daviess Counties, Missouri. While headquartered in Far West, the official name of the church was changed to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And then, of course, those Mormons went off to Illinois, is that right? Nauvoo, is that in Illinois? Having a brain fart. But anyway, to Nauvoo, and then from there, after Joseph Smith passed away, because he was murdered by a mob in jail. What a heroic way to go out, right? Oops. You know, if you're hounded by mobs everywhere you go, maybe it's you.
Of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints hosted a conference this weekend to take a historical look at the persecution of Mormons over the years in Missouri. It was a two-day event that featured Mormon speakers from around the country, as well as elected officials from around the state. The state had an extermination order against all Mormons on the books for more than 130 years. The order forced the expulsion of all Mormons from the state. The order was only abolished about 30 years ago by then-Governor Kit Bond.
I think it's important for us to realize what has happened in the state of Missouri and how that reflects on the freedoms and the liberties that we enjoy now. You know, we enjoy religious freedom. We enjoy, you know, being able to have our own property and things.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints reports there are more than 50,000 members of the church living in Missouri today.
So after Goofball gets killed in Nauvoo, the whole Brigham Young group and everybody goes off to Utah, and all that Utah history, which is very important, but I don't want to diverge too much, but while they were in Missouri, like, there was always Mormons here, and they stayed even past this extinction order. There was immediately an offshoot, and then ever since then have been several more. Usually when the big Utah church makes a good choice, like allowing black people to join the priesthood, for people of color, of any people of color, like anybody but white people to join the priesthood, I think that was a good move. That was good on them. Stopping polygamy especially caused a lot of offshoot groups. The FLDS and all of them, like, they're big mad about it, the polygamy thing. And then they're being kind of, what's the word, like, they're still complementarian in their beliefs about the gender roles and all that stuff. But the big church, at least the big Utah LDS, the official LDS one, they do allow women to, like, teach in some capacity, and there's, like, the Relief Society. So a woman can be, like, the president, I think, of, like, the Relief Society, which is women, but they're only technically ever an authority over, like, other women and then children, I think. But still, it's, whoa, bud, you're ruining everything. I have to fix it. Somewhere in there. Yes, she's kind of in her fritzy mood, her, like, skizzy mood, her, like, I'm gonna bounce off the walls and be crazy mood. Come here, babies. But look how big she's gotten. Look. And she's eating me. And she's gone. It's been fun. She's like a cat. She's a crazy cat. That's okay. She's got spunk and I like her. But anyway, on to the video. Part 1. Where in the world is Zion? The LDS Church, they define Zion as being pure in heart, according to what? To Doctrine and Covenants 97:21. So chapter 97, verse 21. Got it. Okay. And then they admit on their website that they used to counsel members of the church to emigrate to centers, like to emigrate to a central location to build up Zion. They won't admit which one, but we know which one it is. Oh, you don't know? Oh, we're gonna talk about it. But now they've completely reversed course on this, and they're like, no, you should just stay where you are. Wherever you are is good. Just stay there. And the idea that anywhere that you as a Latter-day Saint are in the world, wherever you are in the world, that's where Zion will be, because it's about, like, a heart thing. Like, they're kind of using it almost to describe like having the Holy Spirit, having a pure heart. So, like, if you have a pure heart and they have a pure heart, and then those people work together and do, like, pure heart stuff, like, or taking care of the poor, giving to the needy, feeding the hungry, that sort of thing, that will build Zion. They kind of have, like, a double speak with the language a little bit, it seems like. But they do sometimes still refer to it as a geographical location. It's in all of their holy books. The Bible mentions Zion as a place. The Book of Mormon and the Doctrine and Covenants mention it. Oh no, come back here, unicorn. There you go, buddy. And then they use it to refer to the city of Enoch and to the ancient, like the OG Jerusalem, like the Israel Jerusalem, and then the New Jerusalem in Jackson County, Missouri, right? Independence, Missouri.
So let's talk about if and when the Saints will return to Missouri. I remember as a child being told this would happen, but then I got older and it seemed like the narrative in the church changed, and that the Saints were not going to return to Missouri. I realized that this came from people confusing the gathering that is happening today to a very different event that will occur in the future. Early church members always knew and believed the final gathering would be in Missouri. Then later confusion stemmed from statements such as these, and there are a lot of them, that say to remain in our own native lands, or you will be blessed in whatever part of the world you're in, and every nation is the gathering place for its own people. There is no centralized gathering right now, but does that mean there will be no return to Missouri prior to the second coming? Have we abandoned the 10th article of faith that says Zion will be built upon the American continent? I believe much of the confusion comes from faithful members that believe that the second coming is so close that a return to Missouri simply can't be in the cards. Think about it. If you believe we are months or even a few short years away from the second coming, we can't be returning to Missouri. There is a great quote by Bruce R. McConkie that I think eliminates all of the confusion, but to be clear, he isn't the only one that has said this. I think he just said it the most clearly. He said, quote, "Let Israel gather to the stakes of Zion in all nations. Let every land be a Zion to those appointed to dwell there. Let the fullness of the gospel be for all the saints in all nations. Let no blessing be denied them. Let temples arise wherein the fullness of the ordinances of the Lord's house may be administered. But still there is a center place, a place where the chief temple shall stand, a place to which the Lord shall come, a place whence the law shall go forth to govern all the earth. And that central place is what men now call Independence in Jackson County, Missouri, but which in a day to come will be the Zion of our God and the city of holiness to his people. The site is selected, the place is known, the decree has gone forth, and the promised destiny is assured." See, he makes it clear that this is a time for gathering in various lands in which we live, but a time will come later, yet prior to the second coming, Zion will be established in Jackson County, Missouri.
Part 2. Whose Zion is it anyway? There are lots of Mormons. I don't know if you know this. I didn't really know it, so that's why there are a lot of different denominations within the Mormon umbrella. Not just the big, Utah crew that everybody knows, the Salt Lake LDS. They are the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or LDS, with over 17 million members worldwide, according to them. Which I think I've talked in a previous video about. There's not really any real mandatory reporting of any kind for any church in the United States. That's like a protection under the law for religious organizations. So we have to take literally everything they tell us with a pinch of salt. Everything they tell us. The money they make, the money they give out, or the money they give away, how many members they have, but they claim to have over 17 million members, so they make up the vast majority. Everything else would be like a teeny tiny little percentage of their overall number, and also mostly based in the US, and all of these are going to be mostly based in the US. They all started in the US, and it could be argued this is the most, and it has been argued, that Mormonism is the American religion, and there's just, it remakes the whole history of America in its mythology. Makes all of America kind of like a mirror world to the biblical lands of the Bible. It's they're supposed to be kind of. Joseph Smith didn't know any other stories, I guess, to draw from, so he basically just wrote Bible fan fiction and placed it where he was at, which on its own would be kind of cool, but then he made a whole religion, a little cult out of it. So that part, the grifting part, I'm not as big a fan of, you know what I'm saying? The Community of Christ, which was formerly known as the Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so the RLDS. They were known as that from 1872 until 2001. Pretty recently, they changed their name to Community of Christ. No, baby. No, don't do it. Okay, where is it at? And it's the second largest denomination of the Latter-day Saints movement, with approximately 250,000 members. So the second largest, The first largest has 17 million, and then the Community of Christ is only 250,000, to give you an idea. And then the rest of them are going to be smaller, I guess. The Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the FLDS, which I did mention people who were like loosely aligned, I guess, with the FLDS, who moved to a commune between Humansville and Stockton, Missouri. So they were FLDS, mainly like, I think they split because of the polygamy thing. I think that's going to be your group that mainly split because of they wanted to keep practicing polygamy, even if the big, the president of the Big Utah Church said, we're not going to do that anymore. They were like, well, we still are, so we're not a part of your church anymore. That's how that goes. And then the Remnant Church, which was an offshoot of the Community of Christ, or RLDS as they used to be called. They split because of the female priesthood issue and the construction of the Independence Temple. The Temple in Independence was built by this Community of Christ, formerly RLDS, and it was dedicated on April 17th, 1994.
I wonder if many Latter-day Saints still have preconceived notions about how soon the Lord will come and forget many of the prophecies that need to be fulfilled prior to his coming. This photo is a modern-day aerial view of Independence, Missouri, showing some of the land purchased by the Saints in 1831 for the eventual city of Zion and the temple. Notice there are 3 different religions owning land here, including the Community of Christ Church, formerly the RLDS, the Church of Christ, who actually owns the temple lot, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with a visitor center and a stake center. We will need to own the temple lot before we can build the temple.
It looks like a torture device or a neat sea creature. Maybe a little bit. I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. Especially from the inside looking up, there's like this like spirally looking ceiling thing. Yeah, kind of like a sea creature, or in this case like a giant sea monster, which is funny because my son keeps telling me that the Mormons are secretly planning to take over the world, and that all of these temples that they're building are really like they're like tanks that on the day that the Lord comes or whatever, they're all gonna like activate, and like you're gonna see like tracks, treads come up on the bottom, and giant guns come out from the sides. The whole thing's gonna morph, like into a giant robot weapon thing. And then I don't know, but I could see this one being a really cool looking giant robot weapon temple thing. Have to watch out for that one. The most fascinating thing about the Independence Temple to me is that it's not on the Temple Mount area that was picked out by Joseph Smith and his group. Or was it Brigham Young? I don't know. Somebody picked it out. I'll look it up. But somebody picked it out that's associated with the big church.
Scripture seems to indicate that Zion must be built before the Lord will appear in his glory. This photo here is of the area of Independence, Missouri that the prophet Joseph Smith dedicated in August 1831 for the building of the Latter-day Temple, commonly referred to as the Temple Lot.
And that land is still sitting vacant. I guess the ultimate plan is that towards the end of time, when the end is about to come, a remnant, that seems to be an important word to them, a remnant of faithful saints will travel to Independence, Missouri. At that point, there won't be anybody there. And they will build a temple there. And then the Lord will return. And I guess before all this happens, there's supposed to be like a civil war in America.
We have the story of Lehi and Ishmael's family, a righteous remnant being led to the promised land. In Omni, you have most of the Nephites being destroyed except a small remnant led by Mosiah I, who is told by the Lord to leave, and they find their way to Zarahemla, where they discover the Mulekites, again a righteous remnant that was led to the promised land. You then have the story of Alma, after hearing the words of Abinadi, gathering a remnant of righteous believers and fleeing into the wilderness. And these are just a few examples from the Book of Mormon. The scriptures are full of stories where a righteous remnant is led to the promised land, where if they remain righteous, they will be protected to find peace. So who will go to Missouri? Doctrine and Covenants 133 makes it clear that the parable of the 10 virgins is referring to the righteous remnant of the members of the church at that time will be the ones that will go to the New Jerusalem to meet the bridegroom.
But taking into account the stories of the people who, in those articles, who came from all across America and even other places. I think one of them was from Mexico, right? Come from all these places to move to Missouri, just to be near the scene of the action that they perceive is coming up, so that I guess so they'll be there when the call happens or when the time comes, because everybody who reads a story of like the faithful, the heroes, the ones who are like faithful to the end, they're like, oh, that's me.
It's me.
That is so me. Which I don't blame them. I mean, I would do that too. You know, I'd be like, well, that's me. So maybe they just want to be close to the scenes so that when they're the ones who are obviously going to be called to go to Zion and build this magnificent temple and live in this wonderful city that's like a refuge from the rest of the world, while the whole world is blowing up, they'll have peace there, waiting for Christ's return. So everybody's gonna want to be there. So like the church itself. Wait, I should probably do like a part 3 or something. Let me backtrack a little bit. I did want to say that there are already temples in Missouri. There's a temple, I think, over in St. Louis. There's a temple near Kansas City. The Kansas City temple. It's actually near Liberty, Missouri, which is in the Kansas City metropolitan area. And it's really close, I guess, in proximity to the Liberty jail, which is where Joseph Smith was in jail, during all this skirmishy stuff that happened while he was here. Trouble follows him everywhere he goes, I'm telling you. I guess I heard rumors this year. I didn't hear rumors. I saw a video, and I'll put the clip in. I'll put some clips in from that video and send you guys her way. She's got a really good channel. I think it's called Generally Unquotable. She's cool. I really like her. But she found this rumor or whatever. She did the sleuthing. And I guess they're planning a temple in Springfield.
What happened is, before the church bought property where the Springfield, Missouri temple is going to eventually be built, they hired an engineer, had him sign an NDA to get the property rezoned so that they could build a temple on it without the public knowing what church was coming in and what exactly was going to be built there. The Planning and Zoning Commission in Springfield in January then approved the rezoning in a 5-1 vote.
So there's that. So they're going to have 3 of them. And then eventually they want to build one in Independence. But according to official LDS doctrine, nobody need worry about that too much. But according to me and my opinion, they're coming here anyway. But there's a bunch of them that have already been here. Like I said, that it's been here the whole time, and I just didn't really pay attention until I started learning about it. But the Utah church still sends out missions to Missouri, which is interesting. We get missionaries here that are from Utah. I think all of the missionaries I've ever met come from Utah. They were going to be like BYU students, you know, or something like that. So they're clearly proselytizing, but maybe, you know, maybe they feel like they have to some degree, because even though they've got all these temples and all these stakes and wards, there's a ward in the town right next to me. Is that the right word? Ward? Yeah. It's like a little chapel, you know, where they go to like church. Not a temple, but a chapel. And I think maybe because there's like all these, like I said, FLDS Mormons, there are these Remnant Church Mormons, the Community of Christ Mormons, and like 1,000 other denominations of Mormons. I really wanted to give like a comprehensive list. Here's my little like list there of the, I really wanted to, and I was like, my brain is starting to hurt and I'm having trouble keeping track of them because they all have the same names. Except just like moved around a little bit. Maybe a new word in there here and there, but pretty much all words starting to sound the same, and so I can't take it anymore. I guess I really need to say a part 3, don't I? What's my part 3? Okay, I can't do my fingers with this hand. Part 3, my opinion that you didn't ask for. Or maybe you did. You probably came here for my opinion. I think there's a lot going on with this topic. Are the Mormons emigrating to Missouri? Are the Mormons pilgriming? What's the word? Pilgrimaging? That's not a word. Are the Mormons coming back to Missouri or returning to Missouri? Yes and no. Yes, there are clearly people of the Mormon faith who have read these prophecies and heard Russell M. Nelson.
Long time since El Paso, Mary.
And other prophets give prophecies about this Zion and it being this like sacred refuge place, and like that's where all the action's gonna be prior to the Lord's return.
So why will we go there? Here are just a few reasons mentioned in Scripture. The wicked will not come into it. Every man that will not take up his sword against his neighbor must needs flee undesigned for safety. See, this is still where there is wicked prior to the second coming. Quote, and it shall be the only people that shall not be at war one with another. It is a land prepared in all things against the day when tribulation and desolation are sent forth upon the wicked. It will be the only place where you can find peace on the earth.
It's going to be the most interesting place in the world unless you're like a part of actual Israel. Remember how I said they do like a mirror world thing? So like a mirror of the biblical lands is that they're the new Israel, or like the grafted on Israel. The concept that's kind of in the Bible too, I suppose. Christians are considered grafted onto the tree of, you know, Judah or whatever. Even though they're not technically in the lineage, they're considered added to it by grace or whatever. So the Mormons have something similar with that. They take it very seriously. Kind of cultural appropriation, you know, that I think we've talked about before. Maybe we haven't. I should do a whole video on that topic, because I find it really interesting. Something that I never thought about when I was a Christian. Nobody talked about. And then whenever I did hear people mention it, I was like, oh, yeah, that is what that is, isn't it? What was I saying? So, right, I was saying that, like, yes and no. Why the loud trucks as soon as I start filming? So, yes, they are coming back. A few of them are, but no, not officially. None of these denominations are officially telling members to go out there. But I've been looking at a lot of this stuff on YouTube, and I am an avid comment reader. Sometimes when I'm listening to a video, my brain will get kind of like I need to scroll something, right? So like I'm listening to the video, but I'm scrolling the comments as I read. I do that all the time. And I've found a lot of comments in the comment section on YouTube where people outright say that they came to Missouri because they got like a blessing, like a priesthood blessing, or someone like, you know, put their hand on their head or whatever. It was like, "I was your blessing. You should go to Missouri and you should, like, I don't know, like, help build up the stake at this one." Blah, blah, blah. And so they'll go. According to these comments, these people went and they're like, "Yeah, I've been in Missouri for like 10 years. I love it. Wow, we're growing so much." And then like people will be like, "Hey, I did missionary work at that ward, you know?" And I found that pretty interesting. So they're publicly saying one thing, and then the individuals who are a part of the church are doing what they're allegedly claiming.
So when will this all happen? Well, we don't know, but we do know some of the things that will need to happen prior and some of the conditions at the time that will need to drive the righteous to Zion. We will need to obtain the temple lot, which is currently in the hands of another church. Some say we will purchase it, and perhaps we will, but there is an interesting quote by Brigham Young, as stated by Heber C. Kimball, that said, quote, "Upon the return of the saints, there would be no inhabitants in the area of Missouri to plague the church." I touch on some of this in a video I have on famine. Additionally, the times of the Gentiles needs to be fulfilled. Again, you'll want to watch that video to learn more about that. But it means that the Gentiles have fully rejected the gospel. At this time, there will be wars everywhere, including those on American soil. It sounds like total anarchy, and the only refuge is to flee into Zion.
There's something going on there.
Hey guys, Editing Katie here. I just wanted to point it out that he just said the plan of the LDS Church is to stand by while we all kill each other so they can swoop in and take an empty Missouri. Yeah.
Not necessarily there's something going on there, just that it might look to the untrained eye that there's nothing going on there. But if you just listen to enough people and just look around, like I live in Missouri, so I can just look around and go, yeah, Mormonism is growing. I started researching Mormonism because my fiance's mom has been, I don't want to say sucked into it, like she willingly walked into it, you know, she likes it. So there was a need suddenly. I felt a need suddenly to find out what it was exactly going on. Not out to persecute anybody, you know. If you're a member of the Mormon Church, I hope that I don't offend you. I'm not trying to offend anybody. You know, you have a right to believe whatever you want to believe. We'll never judge beliefs on this channel. We can't be mean to people for their beliefs on this channel, right? We're not going to do that. But if you do actions that are questionable, that's where my judgment comes in. I can judge your actions as you can judge my actions, and you know, that's fine. We can all do that. We can have opinions on each other. But I hold no ill will towards Mormonism at all. I actually find it extremely interesting. It's fascinating, especially coming from guys. Did you guys notice I was wearing a pyramid? You notice that? The whole world's a pyramid. I told you. Yeah, this is fitting. Mormonism is definitely a pyramid scheme. I would even call it more of a commercial cult than a religious cult. But I mean, it is a religious cult too, I guess. My point. Oh, I was just saying I wasn't going to be offensive. So I hope that I'm not like offending any active Mormons. I don't want to. I hope we can have a good discourse with each other. But I do think it's fascinating that they're all fascinated with Independence, Missouri. I find this whole situation very interesting, that they're so interested in Missouri. And yeah, I just wanted to share all of that. I thought you guys would find it interesting too, especially the channels that I found researching this. There's been quite a few that if you guys are interested in my content, you might be interested in their stuff too, especially Generally Unquotable. XJW Panda Tower, Panda as he goes by. He's really cool. Alyssa Grenfell, I guess he's an XJW, but he considers Mormons his cult cousins. And he's really funny. You guys would really like him, I think. And I don't know, I should probably wrap this up so I have space left on my phone to edit it. Yeah, so did I ever do like a part 3? I think I did. So we'll call that the conclusion, I suppose. We'll wrap it up. I hope you guys have a good day and rest of your week. I'll try to get some more videos out in the next couple of weeks while I'm working on the Doreen Virtue thing. It's a whole thing, but you know, the world continues to turn, and I'm still at the bottom of the big pyramid, which is where I like to be. Really, I flourish there. Cat's good, kid's good, family's good, everybody's good. I hope y'all are good. I hope you have a good time where you're at. I hope if you're in a hurricane area, I hope that didn't affect you too badly. I hope everybody's okay where you are. Yeah, I love you guys. Be careful. Don't join a pyramid scheme. Yeah, I think that's it. Bye.